Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a really awesome telescopic controller that I recently picked up on Aliexpress for $16. Since picking this up, I did a little bit of digging over on the website and you can actually get this for $13.40. Basically what we've got here is a telescopic controller with Hall-based analog sticks, a little bit of RGB, and this is compatible with Android, iOS, Windows, and even the Nintendo Switch. Really surprised by how well this thing performs. You can use a custom Keymapper in Android to get this working with games that don't natively support controllers, like Genshin Impact. Plus, you can connect this to your Android device and it will detect it as a Microsoft Xbox controller, so it works with games like Call of Duty Mobile without any kind of Keymapper whatsoever. They also claim that this will work with up to a 10-inch tablet, and we will test that by the end of the video, but I'm going to be using my Galaxy S24 Ultra here. It's a much larger phone, especially with a case on it, so I think that we can actually fit this right in the D8 very nicely. They do offer a couple different color variants. I've seen a white version, we've got the black version here, and I've also seen like a red and blue version, I guess kind of special editions. But basically what you're going to get with the D8 here is the controller itself and a user manual. We do have an English section in this manual, and it's going to come in really handy because there are quite a few modes built into this controller here. We've got an X input mode, dedicated Android mode, MiFi for iOS, a Switch mode, and a PC mode. But we'll go ahead and get these analog protectors off. And like I mentioned, this does have Hall-based analog sticks, plus we've got Hall-based linear triggers around back, which is really awesome. I mean, we're not going to have to worry about any kind of drift or anything like that with this controller. Plus, we get a very accurate input reading. USB Type-C port for charging the internal battery. And of course, we do have a little bit of RGB here. Couple different modes. Basically, we can lock this at a color that it cycles to. But the analog sticks and even the D-pad actually feel really nice. It is using a conductive pad under the D-pad and the face buttons A, B, X, Y. But you may have noticed by now that this is not a USB Type-C controller, and with all of the funky tablets on the market, I was really looking for something like this to fit my larger tablets. And most of the time, you know, the USB Type-C port isn't in the same place, and we're even seeing that with newer gaming phones on the market. So having something wireless may come in handy. Of course, it's not going to be a wired connection, but for the price, I don't think this is bad at all. Taking a look over here, we've got our left analog stick, a little bit of RGB, we've got our D-pad and our power button. Now this kind of threw me off. Usually on these type of controllers, we have our select button over here, but moving over to the other side, you can see at the very bottom, we've got our start button. Right underneath the X button is actually our select. So this might throw you off just a little bit up front, but you can definitely get used to it. Plus, we've got our mode switch button up there by the A button. I actually like the way this feels in the hand. A little bit of grippy texture around back here, and it does support turbo functionality. You can also set up a macro with this. I mean, it's got a lot of great features built in, and given that price point, it's really hard to believe they're able to offer this at that price. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this connected to my Galaxy S24 Ultra, and we're actually going to be connecting it in X input mode, so it'll show up as an Xbox controller. If you pick one of these up, keep the manual handy because there are a lot of different key combinations to get into different modes, but with this, we're going to press RB and the power button at the same time. While this is flashing, we can actually pair it up, and now we're in X input mode. As you can see on my phone, Xbox wireless controller. We'll just go ahead and pair this. And now this is working just like an Xbox controller would connected to your Android device. And games that specifically require first-party controllers will work, like Call of Duty Mobile. Again, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is kind of a larger phone, plus I've got a case on it, but it fits in here really nicely, definitely fills it up. But again, they do state that this will work with up to a 10-inch tablet, so I wanted to test that real quick with a couple different tablets that I have on hand. So some people do call these stretchy controllers, and as you can see, it does kind of stretch out, known as a telescopic controller. We've got a lot of room to fit a larger screen in here, so I wanted to go with the new 2023 Lenovo Legion Y700. It's an 8.8-inch Android gaming tablet. As you can see, I mean, it fits perfectly with the D8. And I've really been looking for a decent controller to go with this tablet. I think this is exactly what I'm going to be doing now, and it would be nice to have USB Type-C here, but again, these USB Type-C ports on a lot of these newer devices are being put in different places, on the side, maybe a little to the left on the bottom, so I really haven't been able to find a USB Type-C controller to fit this tablet correctly. And the next one we have here is a much larger tablet. This is the Galaxy Tab S9. This is the regular S9 version, not the Plus or the Ultra. It's got an 11-inch display. Now they say that we can fit up to a 10-inch tablet in here, but it actually goes in here. We've got a little bit of bend on the back there. Now I haven't broken anything and the controller's still working. I really wouldn't recommend this, but I still wanted to see if we could get a decent controller to go along with this larger tablet. And yeah, I mean, in a pinch, you could definitely make this work. Next thing I wanted to do was just use this little gamepad tester. First up, just kind of a simple test, and then we'll move over to the axes just to see how these Hall-based analog sticks and triggers function. But it seems like everything's going right back into place where it should be. And again, that select button is over here on the right-hand side. Definitely keeps throwing me off. Moving over to the axes. For these analog sticks, they go right back into place, no problem at all. And when it comes to these triggers, they are linear, Hall-based, and you can just give it a little bit of input here. You can see that moving just a bit, and this comes in really handy for racing games. So you can kind of feather that gas, launch control, however you want to use it. Both the left and the right trigger, same exact thing here, and they feel really good. We've actually got quite a bit of throw with them also. So like I mentioned, once you connect this to your Android device in X input mode, it's going to show up as an Xbox wireless controller. So games that natively support controllers on Android are going to work with this, even Call of Duty Mobile here. You want to do some Minecraft, Dead Cells, I mean basically anything that really supports a controller without a mapper will work with this right out of the box. And it feels really good here for these first-person shooters. Not bad at all. Next thing I wanted to test was the D-pad itself, and of course, X input mode again. It's going to work with all of your favorite emulators. We've got Redream for some Dreamcast here. The conductive material they used underneath this D-pad is a little firmer than I'm used to, but yeah, I mean, you can actually pull your favorite special moves off pretty easily. Did miss a few here and there, but yeah, it's something I need to get used to. It's not a horrible D-pad at all. It actually has some pretty decent roll to it. And the final thing I wanted to take a look at was using this with games that don't natively support controllers, i.e. using a Keymapper. So we will need to connect this to our Android device in a different way. We're actually going to hold A and power on the controller at the same time. Now through the Bluetooth connection, it's going to show up as the D8 controller. We'll go ahead and set this up. And you will need the V3 shooting app installed. It's free on Google Play, you don't have to sideload it. Actually, you might need to reload the app. There we go. So the D8 is now connected. List of games that we can use. You can actually set up your own custom key profile if you want to. And with this, what we can do is set up on-screen touch points to use with the physical controller. The devs of Genshin Impact have still left us out with native controller support on Android, but something like this will allow you to use a physical controller with Genshin Impact. So I just set up a quick profile. I haven't mapped all of the buttons. Right here, we can set up on-screen touch points. So this is going to be my left analog stick. This will be my right analog stick. And with this, I wanted to set it up as view mode. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. I've just lowered the sensitivity just a bit. And as you can see, my buttons are working with this game. So they're set up for the on-screen touch points. Now you can download profiles through this application if you want to, or you can totally customize it. It's really up to you. Overall, I think the BSP D8 is a pretty decent controller. Now, it's not a top-of-the-line controller whatsoever, and the price does not reflect that. If you take a look over on Amazon for, let's say, the Backbone, which is a great controller, you can pick one up with a Lightning port or USB Type-C to work with the new iPhones or Android. Those are $99. It's actually one of my favorite controllers. You have zero input latency because you're not using Bluetooth. It's got a physical connection. But if you're not looking to spend $100 on an Android controller, then I could definitely recommend the BSP D8. Especially if you're looking for one of these telescopic controllers for a larger device, like an 8-inch tablet up to a 10-inch tablet. This actually works out quite well. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in learning a little more, I will leave some links in the description. I picked mine up on Aliexpress for $16. If you want to get one a bit faster, you can pick it up on Amazon, but I think they're either $29 or $39. Either way, I'd say around 25 bucks would be the maximum I'd pay for this, but I think it would be worth it in the end. If you've got any questions, let me know down below. Like always, thanks for watching.